My name's Michael Collins. I'm the owner of a new small business called Cyber Cognition, and we focus on providing cybersecurity advisory services to small and medium-sized organisations that can't typically afford a full-time resource. So we help them out with mitigating any risks from the cyber threats that are in the environment today. There's a lot that you assume about setting up a business and what it actually takes to do it properly. And I probably spent the first, 4 to 6 weeks with a lot of sleepless nights worrying about, how I would get the company set up, the structure that would be required that was best for me. And once I'd gotten onto Lawpath, I think the primary benefit for me was that it was able to resolve a lot of those issues and challenges that I had in my head and give me a structured way to take it forward and make sure that I was setting up the business in the right manner. Because a lot of the inputs and tips you get from people on the street and friends that you have give you a lot of recommendations, but often what they were suggesting was probably not the best solution for me. So it was good to get some proper expert advice to help sort of calm the nerves and make sure I was on the right track and setting myself up for success. So most of my experience previously has been in the enterprise space. So it's very much large organisations, either national or multinational organisations, and there's a very different experience to what I had with Lawpath. And working with them as a small business. So previous experience has been, long lead times in terms of getting legal teams engaged, a lot of documentation, a lot of meetings, and then obviously a lot of costs behind that as well. So the experience I had with Lawpath was the inverse of that. It was, very friendly, easy to engage, very helpful and people that were really had, I think, the best interests of myself as a small business owner at heart, and giving me, guidance and tips on things I needed to consider. And it was, much less expensive, and it wasn't that model where it's, 6-minute increments that you get billed, which gives you that, again, just that level of comfort that you've got time to explain, ask questions again, and make sure that what you're hearing is correct, rather than being under the pressure that you've got a stopwatch on you and every minute is, increments of multiple hundreds of dollars. So yeah, it was much more user-friendly and a better customer service experience, definitely, to what I've been experiencing before. I think, having been in technology for over 20 years, one of the things that's always front of mind is the user experience. So the thing that I found with the platform was it was very self-explanatory. It wasn't complicated. It was easy to know, with how the menu's laid out, what you needed to do and the steps you needed to go through to set up a call with either one of the legal experts or the accounting experts. There's also the chat feature, which I think is really great. So you don't have to set up a call and wait a period of time. If you've got a quick answer, having that chat feature is really good, just to pop out a question and get a response back. I found that was really helpful. And the other thing too was, I think in some of the meetings that we did set up, when you got into the meeting agenda was pre-populated with questions that I probably wouldn't have thought of asking. But they were there to sort of help prompt, and I think having that prevents you going into a meeting cold and you don't know what you don't know. So sometimes you're trying to think about what you need to know, the questions you need to ask, and other things you need to consider. But all of that together, I think, just makes the user experience a lot more simpler for people who are only just starting out in business. And like I said, you don't know what you don't know. So having the easy user experience. The platform runs very well in terms of performance. Setting up the video calls with the people that you're talking to is relatively seamless, and just those extra features of having the chat and then sort of standard questions pre-populated in the agenda for the meeting really makes it a good experience. I think for me, the biggest value will come from, again, being the only person in the business at the moment, is being able to make sure I maximize my time doing what I need to do to run my business and minimize the time in terms of drafting contracts and using the e-signatures feature to get them signed and not having to worry about that. So any sort of automation or efficiency for me provides value because I've got more time to spend on doing what's most important to me, which isn't admin, contractual work. I think also the other benefit has been in setting up the financial side of it as well. So not having to worry about what I need to do going forward to make sure that, all the bookkeeping's in place, that I'm setting up the platform right. So that's been helpful as well. And I think that just as the business grows and more contracts, there's more financial transactions happening, again, just taking that weight off my shoulders and knowing that there's other people there to support it is probably going to be where the biggest value is as the business grows. I think for me, it's mainly we're looking at brand awareness now and getting, the name into the market. So that will hopefully drive the pipeline of work. Ideally, if I can max myself out, that's a good problem to have because then it means I can employ other staff. So I think for me, in the space that we're in, there's a lot of opportunity. It's making sure that I'm not taking my eyes off what I need to do to build the business, but I've also got the level of comfort that there's someone helping with the administration of the business. So yeah, it's primarily getting the word out there about who we are and what we do. And then, growing the business to the point where, like I said, it starts to expand and then continuing to rely on Lawpath and the services they've got to help us in parallel. I think don't underestimate what it takes to set up a business right at the beginning, and think about where you will be in a couple of years, not where you are now, which is just at the start. So making sure that you put the right foundations in place. And I think there's the opportunity just to join on a free tier and just test out the platform, talk to the team, get a level of comfort about what they do, go in and explore the platform, and then, which is what I did, and then just incrementally added the services as I needed them, going through setting up the company and establishing the financial structure, and then plugging the platforms in, and it's a lot more seamless than you expect, and it just gives you that sense of comfort that you've got the right approach and the right direction